Hey, what's up everybody? This is BS for Build. I'm Chris. We are back in the shop working on prepping the car for paint. So actually what we're doing is two things in this episode, and if all goes to plan, it's going to be a kind of relaxed, sit back, chill, listen to some music, grab some popcorn type of episode because there's not a lot to talk about, just a lot of work to get done. So the first thing I'm going to be doing is something that I've actually been doing over the last 2 days while I was sick. I wanted to redo the window louvers with some different materials. I learned a lot in the first go around, and I wanted to do it again in the second go around, following the advice that I gave you guys at the end of the part 2 of window louvers. And I'm gonna finish those things up right now, and then we'll talk about those. And then we gotta sand down the whole car, mask off all the parts that we don't want painted, and prep the car for paint. Stay tuned. Alright, well that is a wrap on window louvers part dos. Let me show you guys what I did differently this time than the last time. So this time, to make all my bends, each one of these bends, I used a breaker bar. Excuse the camera. I used a breaker bar. This is about a $20 tool that you can get down at Harbor Freight. It's best if you have 2 people, and I marked the angle where I wanted to stop the breaker bar. That's how I made all the bends uniform. I used aluminum angle iron, so here's a piece of it. 3/4 inch by 3/4 inch, I believe. I took this and I put it in a vise and smushed it. And what this just has a lot more strength and rigidity to it, and then you can take it and bend it along the contour line of the car. The other thing I did was I also used thicker sheet metal. I used, I think this is 18 gauge sheet metal, so it's got a little bit more structural rigidity. You can see that all the bends are pretty uniform. This side's up a little bit until I mount it down. What happens is that top piece on the very top doesn't bend to match the whole curvature of the car. So it's trying to push the top corners up a little bit, but when they're down, all of these pieces are nice and uniform. You can see. And I really don't think that I'm gonna need much support in the middle. If I do, I can always add a middle support. One thing that I had with the last ones, another reason, so the last ones, the parts I really didn't like was I really didn't like the side rails. They were too flimsy. And I had a couple pieces of this that weren't doing well. And then the middle support, didn't really need it, but I could have added it in there, but then I had a problem with my angles because I used this little angle finder of the protractor. I used it wrong, so be careful when you use these. Always use the same side. So 54 degrees over here is not 54 degrees over here, so don't set it like 54 degrees like that and then use this side because you'll get messed up angles. So anyways, that's what I did. I'm very happy with the way that they turned out. I've ordered a piece for the very top, and they're all riveted together nice and neatly along this line. So these are ready to be painted, and they need the little window sealers on the inside of the slats to do that. But these are done and these are ready, so now I'm gonna start prepping the car for paint. All right, well, I've been playing around with the doors and the inside of the door trim, trying to figure out how I'm gonna paint those, and I honestly don't really have a good answer. So I'll worry about that tomorrow. For the rest of today, I'm kind of running out of time that I can use power tools in the shop. You can't make too much noise. So what I think I'm gonna do is close this trunk up and just start hitting this with the power sander and start blasting through a couple of these coats of paint. So we can get down through it. So I'm gonna throw on a respirator and grab the power sander and get to work.
Have you ever had a dream that you could do anything?
Say, Ma, what's your name?
All right, well, I know my face face looks stupid, but oh well. So today, what I just got finished with, oh geez, I can barely breathe in here. What I just got finished with was putting a coat of primer, a nice coat of sandable primer on the spoiler, so I could sand down some of the the high spots on that, and we'd have something to sand into. And we spent, Jesus, I can barely breathe. We spent time sanding this thing. Apparently I gotta get the hell out of here. I didn't know how bad it was. So it's 10 o'clock tonight. I gotta bail, and I'll be back tomorrow to do some more of this stuff. See you tomorrow. Jesus. All right, guys, we are back in the shop. I feel like my cold's almost gone, so it's time to swap out the Red Bull for some beer and get back to work. So I got cameraman Adrian behind the camera, and he's also gonna be helping me out with a bunch of this stuff. And then we're gonna keep sanding, start masking. We're gonna hand sand. We're gonna do a finer grit sanding on the spoiler that we just painted yesterday. We also brought the air compressor in. And I don't know why I'm telling you guys this, but just in all honesty, I left that air compressor outside since I bought it and painted the car last time. So we're gonna try and tune up the air compressor a little bit to hopefully save it. We got a gun that takes a lot less air pressure. It's a gun that's built for lower air pressure, and that air compressor is enough. So it would save myself 300 and something bucks if I can get that thing to work. So we're gonna be trying to play with that a little bit today, because we can also use the air compressor to help blow some of this dust off of the car, because we don't have any other way to like kind of evacuate the dust and the sanded particles away from the sanding surface. So time to get back to work, probably a lot more time lapse. I hope you guys enjoy the tunes. Sit back, enjoy, and hopefully we'll get some better status updates, because work will happen. Alright guys, we got some good sanding done today. Again, it's getting late and we gotta bow out, and also our tools are broken. We don't have any more sandpaper with the correct grit. Basically, when I was going for the hood, it just started ripping through it, and then you get the little corkscrews in it. That means you need more, whatever, sandpaper. I also sanded my headlight like a fucking pro, which sucks. Thanks, air compressor. All right, so we need to come back with new sandpaper, better sandpaper, and fix up this hood some more. We got all the body kit parts done. Need to do the side of the car. But for those keen viewers, this you'll notice this is taking more than 2 days. So this is going to be an all week long episode of nothing that interesting, just sanding. But with paint, you know, it's all about the prep. So it's worth putting in the time, because we're really hoping for a good paint job this time. And this way I can be that much more mad when it turns out like dog shit. So that's a wrap for today. Coming back tomorrow with more tools, better tools, and gonna keep at it. Alright, what's up guys? We're back in the shop. I've been in the shop sanding for about 4 hours using the 320 grit on a power sander. My face is all sorts of fucked up from dust getting thrown at it. Remember to use a respirator and maybe eye protection depending on how bad your eyes deal with dust. One little pro tip, I picked up this thing. It's like a dense eraser. It's a big dense version of an eraser. You turn your sander on full blast, and then you grind that thing around on the sandpaper, and it'll take some of the gunk off of there so you don't burn through your sanding pads as fast. So that saved me probably half a dozen sanding pads. The whole car has been done with 320. Next step is 220, and then no, sorry, whole car's been done with 150. Next step is 220 and then some 320. And then we're gonna decide if we need to do primer or what we need to do to finish prepping the car for paint. But so yeah, I'm just gonna grab the power sander. I'm gonna work on an inconspicuous spot like the trunk and do some testing with the power sander versus hand sander and see what I wanna do for the 220 and the 320. All right, well, just like that, another day is in the books. Priming and prepping this car, not priming, just prepping this car, takes a long time. We got a lot of paint to take off of it. I totally did not expect it to take this long, but we put in another 7 hours today. And things are progressing along nicely. This bumper had a lot of crappy paint on it, so it's been quite a process to get a lot of it off, but we're almost there. So I got a list, let me grab the list. So what's left on the list is finish the front bumper, tape the headlights, clean the dust off the car. I'm gonna have to come up with some good way to get all the sanding debris off the car, because right now I just spray it to one side and it ends up on the other side. It can't be that hard, I'll just figure something out. Once I clean it off and I can see better, I'm gonna do some spot sanding and make sure I get all the spots. I just finished the mirrors, so those are done. Fender trim pieces need to be sanded and ready, primed up. We're gonna mount the spoiler. I'm gonna sweep up the floor and get all the dust and stuff off the floor, and we're gonna hang plastic for some walls. And then we will be ready to start painting. So I'm very excited, and I'll be back in the shop tomorrow and wrap this stuff up. What's up, guys? We're about midway through, I forget what day this is, on prepping the car. It's Valentine's Day. Sorry, girlfriend. Well, this is the last day we have to prep. We gotta paint tomorrow. Tomorrow's a holiday, so we're for sure painting tomorrow. Let's see, what have we done? We've finished sanding the car. We prepped the trunk lid to take the spoiler. So what that was is a lot of it has been walking around and primering any spots where we burn through the paint all the way to the metal. We're hitting those with a nice anti-rust primer to make sure that we have a good base, at least for the spoiler to stick onto the back. So we're gonna do the spoiler soon. Until we do that, I've also been working on sanding down the body kit parts. If you guys remember, we did a satin black color on those. Just sanding these down with some 320. So I did the front lip, and the two side skirts are stored up in the rafters, which we don't need to worry about. So yeah, good progress is going on. I got a shop room for the first time, and we're gonna sweep the floor. We're trying to get a lot of the dust away from this project, because basically the car pretty much everywhere is covered with a lot of dust. So yeah, I'm gonna sweep the floor, and then we're gonna work on getting that spoiler on as soon as that primer dries. All right, so it's time to mount up our spoiler, and what we have is this car has been sanded down a bunch, so we need to clean the surface really well on both the spoiler and the trunk lid of the car. So I marked off where I want the thing to go. We're gonna clean both these sides up really well with painting prep, degreaser and wax and dirt and degreaser stuff. We'll clean that up, and then we're gonna use our favorite friend, the 3M double-sided adhesive tape, to mount this up. Now, I know a lot of you haters out there are like, you can't use 3M to mount something, oh my god, it's gonna fall off. It's the industry standard to mount spoilers like this. You use 3M if they don't come with bolts. This one doesn't come with bolts. So my game plan is to do 3M on the outside, but then what we're gonna have is we're gonna have a little bit of gap between the spoiler and the body. And what I have happen, because I live in Oregon, there's a lot of trees and stuff, is you get little bits of debris hanging out here in the back, and they get stuck there. And it's really annoying. It's hard to clean. You don't want to blast a lot of stuff at it, and it's not good. So we're going to do the 3M and get it nice and stuck on here, and that's going to be our adhesion point. And then after that, we're going to come back with silicone, and that's going to have to be tomorrow. We don't have it now. We're going to come back with silicone. We're going to lay a bead of silicone all the way around the spoiler to seal it 100% to the body. So that's gonna be another thing. And then we can come back from inside the spoiler, and there's some points that go straight through here, and we're gonna sink some bolts into the spoiler coming from the back side. So what we're gonna have is, that's just gonna be our last level of redundancy. The 3M is gonna hold this stuff on here. Lots of people use 3M, double-sided tape to put this thing on here. I looked for polyurethane silicone caulking, and I couldn't find any that people recommended. Everybody was recommending the 3M. So we're going to use the 3M tape, but we will put a couple bolts. There's some holes that come stock in the back of this, and they go straight into the back of this. So we'll sink some bolts into this, through the back of this, just as redundancy. Like if this thing starts coming off, getting a little wobbly, those bolts will hold it on there, and we'll notice and we'll fix it. So that's the game plan. But as far as we're going to get today is going to be mounting this thing up, and then we can continue on prepping for paint. Alright, we got our 3M double-sided mounting tape, and we're going to lay some lines here on the top and the bottom, and then we're going to take our spoiler and stick them on. Okay, we got some Tron looking contact patches. So we are going to, this has been cleaned up with degreaser and paint prep, so it's all nice and ready to adhere. We're gonna peel the contact pieces off of this, and then we have our guidelines that we did with a paint pen, so we know exactly where we wanna put it. And we're gonna put it down there, and we're gonna stick it on, and then once it's nice and on there, I'm going to lift up the trunk. I'm gonna have Adrian hold it down, and I'm gonna grab a screwdriver and come from behind and throw a couple screws in there. Okay, so it's on. I can feel it's like on here really good, but we'll throw some screws in here just to be safe. And then tomorrow, I'm gonna come back and lay a line of sealer around the edges here. I'll do some paintable kind of house-like edging, caulking, and that's just gonna be so debris and crap can't fly in here, as well as water won't be able to fly in here and get to our 3M patches. But like I said, let's get some screws in here. I gotta be able to open it. Be right back. One thing I always keep in my bag are these large-headed self-tapping screws. They come in handy all the time. So there's 4 holes in here. They're evenly spaced out through here, and that's what I'm going to use. I'm going to go right through the back of this and into the spoiler to make sure we got some good stickage.
So I just had a funny moment. I was working on masking up these fender, I don't know really what they're called. They're little fender wings, and they're just a piece of trim. And I masked 2 of them up, and I had them ready to go. And I went over to the left side of the car, and I put one on, and then I had the other one, and I went over to this side of the car, and I was just like, uh-oh. So turned out when I ordered this one on eBay, either it was mislabeled or I ordered the wrong side for the car. So I stole this one off of the Plan B. So the Plan B has one on this side, but not the other side. And I have an extra one for the driver's side. So if anybody needs one of these, hit me up, and I'll hook you guys up. We have an extra one, or if not, it'll just hang on the wall like a wall ornament. So we're getting through masking up the car. I need to do the mirrors still, the front windshield. We got the rear windshield done. And I think I'm gonna lift up I'm not sure if I'm going to lift up the front at this point yet, and then we need to lay some plastic on the ground so I don't accidentally paint the ground, and cover the wheels up. And we're getting close though, we're getting really close. Alright, well we have the entire car taped off and ready to start painting tomorrow. Our windshield, our front wheels. So one thing I realized is I did want to put the whole car on jack stands so it'd be easier to paint the bottom rails. But if I do that, I'm not tall enough to really get the roof in a good way, so I think I might add the back wheels on tomorrow and then lower the car back down. We've got those wheels covered, got the front section covered. I'm going to spray the bumper off of the car. I'm going to spray it on that little stand over there that won't focus. There we go. I'm going to spray it on that with the other body kit parts. I may get another one of those. That? Oh, that's just mirror. So yeah, that's what it looks like. We got our spoiler installed in this episode, which is pretty cool. I'm very happy with the way that turned out. At least the install. Got our window, which I'm very excited to put louvers on. The first thing that we're going to paint tomorrow is actually all the blue spots. So we're going to, for instance, open up the trunk and mask off what other stuff we need. Oh, I got to mask off the emblem too. We'll open the trunk and spray the inside of the trunk, and we'll spray these tail light holes, and then we'll be... Oh, I guess we're not opening the doors. Those are definitely shut. I'll figure out the doors later. Maybe I'll paint those last. Anyways, we're all ready for paint. The next things I got to do is put some plastic underneath the car, sweep again, mop, put plastic under the car. We're going to wet that plastic to keep the dust out of the air. And then that should protect the ground too. I'm sure the landlord doesn't want me painting the floor.
And other than that, we're ready to mix up paint and spray it. So I'm very excited, and we need to paint our window louvers tomorrow as well. But I'm very, very excited to be painting this car. This was a lot of prep time, but it's really worth it. All right, guys. Like I said, that was a lot of prep time. I'm sorry, it might not be that entertaining, but you know, it has to be done. I'm really happy to do it. I'm excited that this build is getting near completion, but I'm also just really excited to see how well the prep work has gone, and I'm excited to try painting again. I feel like I got better tools this time. I don't exactly have the right tools, but I have better tools, and I'm really excited about how this spoiler looks and how that went on. So I think that's pretty cool. So I'm just overall really excited to have this car, and the idea of having it to be my daily driver soon is just really cool to have like 8 or 9 months worth of work coming to fruition. But with that, that's the end of this episode. In the next episode, we start painting. Thank you guys very much for watching. If you'd like to support the channel and any of our builds, check out our shop at bsforbuild.com. Scroll down to the shop. We got key tags, we got shirts, and hats and other great stuff on there. And all of the proceeds of that goes to helping us with the builds, and all you guys working on that is very much appreciated. Thank you very much for watching. Check us out at bsforbuild.com, facebook.com/bsforbuild, and bsforbuild on Instagram. Sorry, I'm a little tired. I think the prep work on this thing was about, it's easily over 20 hours. So, but it's all in the prep. Paint will be quick, but the prep was good, and man, no regrets on the prep. But now you'll know why I'm gonna be really mad if I mess up the paint again. Anyways, sorry, sidetracked. That's where you guys can find us. Thank you very much for watching the video. Please remember to like and subscribe. Peace.